Fall GRC series here at Lanes Raceway. About 19 minutes past 1. We're supposed to start at 1, but we ended up waiting until a little bit later as I've had some issues here currently with the live stream, a little bit of the software. But nonetheless, I think we got her back up and rolling now. Everything's looking pretty good. Just going to start you off here with a little bit of the current standings for this week. So, as you can see, Jackson, he's still out in the lead, 1,500 points. Basically, he cannot do any better than 1,500 points. He is here racing again today, but nonetheless, every race from here on out, he'll have to drop because it's the best of 15 races, and he has 15 first place wins. So the only people that can really compete with him currently are these bottom three here, and maybe Glenn Burden. But we see Weston and Carson there with 1,410. Of course, they need to make up 90 laps to be able to tie Jackson, or 90 points before the end of the series to be able to tie Jackson. And then we see Cassie, she needs to make up 100 or so more points too to be able to tie Jackson for a little bit of a face-off possibly. Nonetheless, that is your current standings here. We may check back in on those a little bit later. I'm going to head over here to the main view. You can see me here. Hello, everybody. We got all the cars out there waiting to go. I'm going to give them the go ahead, and we're going to start the first heat. All right, racers, watch your lights. So basically right now, what's going on, Jackson's kind of trying to fend off his lead so that nobody can encroach and maybe tie him. So if he wins a couple more races, it'll pretty much be impossible for anybody to catch him. Right now, of course, we can see Jackson is out in the lead currently with 5 laps, followed by Glenn Burden, Cassie with 4, and Chelsea with 4. And we're hoping, one second folks, we'll be right back with you. All right, I'm back. And we're hoping to see some pretty crazy wild racing here at Lanes Raceway. Of course, recently we've done some updates to some of the software. We've also done some updates here to the live stream. Hope you guys have been having a good time with the live stream. Don't forget, at all times, you guys can chat here if you like. Currently, I don't think I've got that up and rolling, but give me 1 second, I will get it up and rolling. That's pretty good. This one's good. Okay. So I got authorize here. Sorry about that. All right. Now we're good. So it's same situation as before. It'll be YouTube and Twitch currently. Right now, Jackson out in the lead, 17 laps with Glenn Burden right there behind him. Both of them having a wreck so far in this heat. So we'll see as we see another car go to the outside. I believe that to be Glenn Burden again there, as we've seen Cassie and Jackson both speed past. Of course, they both have the track buttons that they can press to be able to kill the track pretty much instantaneously. We see the lineup of the 4 racers right there: Jackson, Cassie, Chelsea, and Glenn. It's a great series for anyone wanting to get started in slot car racing here at Lanes Raceway. As you can tell, the cars are not overly fast. We got a lock gear ratio 929. It's hard to beat this kind of racing, really. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, it's all about keeping your car on, progressively trying to push as hard as you can. If you're up on the upper lanes, trying to just stay with the lower lanes. As we've seen Glenn there kind of checking up a little bit from behind Cassie there, not wanting to make that stab forward there on the white lane. But really, you want to try to make that happen if you can. As we can see down low there on the green, we see Jackson, no qualms here as he takes a dive bomb down low, doing his best to solidify this first place. Down low below him, we got Chelsea. She's kind of out there in the lead there on the orange lane as she kind of blips up in a dangerous position there in the high banks portion of the track, allowing Jackson to go by. Now Jackson out there by himself as he goes to reel in as many more laps as he can with 0 seconds left to go. We're going to have a rotation We go to the track mate here. We can see Jackson there with 46 total laps, Cassie 44, Glenn 44, and Chelsea 42. So we got a pretty close little battle here for first place. Just a couple laps difference from one another. Taking a look here at the player card here. See a few updates here. See Jackson now currently in 6th place with 1,590 points. Still holding down the GRC series there in 1st place. 3rd place currently in the Fairview IT Cup Series. WinCar is 8th, 7th in the IndyCar Series, and 4th in the Late Model Series. One of our few drivers here today that runs every single series here at Lanes Raceway. You can see him there to the left of you holding up his 2023 Summer Champion Little Rumble Series check. Those are our trophies basically here at Lanes Raceway, and he ended up bringing that home, and you can see a little bit of gold dust there on his right eyebrow. That's where he got the nickname Gold Dust. He ended up winning and took a big shot of gold glitter to the face, so ended up getting the nickname Gold Dust. He has many more nicknames for those that are wondering, but that's just one of them. Go back actually over here to this player card here. Sorry about that. As you guys can tell, we do have a couple racers out here today. Carson and Weston not able to make it to the first race. We'll see if they'll be able to make it to the second race here later on. Holiday season and all being what it is, probably a lot of these kiddos not going to be able to make it. Their parents still doing a little Christmas shopping and whatnot. Nonetheless, we are here for them if they decide to show. 47 seconds left to go. I'm going to leave you guys here with the kiddos working on their cars there in the oval, and we'll be right back with you. 20 seconds left here to go, folks. Just want to let you know, these are the cars the kiddos are running here at Lanes Raceway. You can see $83.99 is what they cost, brand new. This is one of them for the shop, so if you wanted to come in and see if you wanted to get your feet wet on running a GRC, we rent it out for $10 and get in a race with the kiddos and adults alike and have a pretty good time. 4 red lights drop out to a green. We're going racing, folks. And here we go. Jackson out turning his first lap there on blue, getting a little hung up there as he goes to lead the pack, dive bombing down low on Chelsea's orange car there up on white lane. As he comes to reel in Cassie up on red lane, is able to make the quick and easy pass there. Glenn Burton not making it so easy as he's up there on green lane and he is flat hammering down. We'll see if Glenn can give Jackson a little bit of a challenge here today. Him and Jackson, somewhat of rivals, giving it back and forth. Glenn's took home a couple victories, and so has Jackson. Speaking of that, we go over here to the player card. We can kind of take a, quick look here at Glenn and see some of his accolades. We see that he's LMP Thunder Series 4th place, Rookie Rumble 8th place from last season. He was also in the he was in the LMP Thunder Series, got 4th place, but he's also in the Stern Pinball, known as Big Daddy 3. He was able to capture that $100 badge there from Jurassic Park for the 30th anniversary celebration. Currently, right now, he's in 2nd position, right behind Jay Latham there with 2,315 points in the 4 Crown Series. He's another one that's in every single one of our series currently here to date at Lanes Raceway. Fairview IT 2nd, WinCar 2nd, IndyCar 2nd, Ohio Valley Late Model 3rd, and GRC 5th place. Back to the race, and we can see Jackson and Glenn just 2 laps separating each other as Cassie goes to the outside there in Dead Man's Corner. Somebody's going to get her car and put it back on pretty good. And we see Glenn having a few words to say about the wreck there. Nonetheless, 17 seconds left to go in this round robin heat As we see Chelsea there in dead man's corner in her orange car as she's backing up there a little bit. And we also see Jackson still leading out right now currently with 89 laps. Everybody within 10 laps of each other here. It's been a pretty close little bout so far here in the second heat of 8. And we see Jackson making another pass on the inside as Cassie goes the outside again with 3 seconds left to go. We'll most likely see Jackson here in first place. As we move over to the player cards here, take a quick look here at Cassie Woosley. Cassie Woosley, GRC Series debut here this fall 2023. As you see, her car colors are starry purple and blue, and she has definitely increased and is a promising young racer here at Lanes Raceway. She is not in any other 4 Crown series other than the GRC series. But nonetheless, she is very strong in the GRC series. We might actually see her today move up into 3rd position after this race. You never can tell. Right now, running both of her heats at 44 laps apiece. Glenn Burden there running 44 on red. So you can tell right there running against Glenn that she is quite competitive right there with the guys. So don't count her out. Don't count Chelsea out either, as both of them are pretty fierce competitors, especially up on the higher lanes. Jackson, they're able to turn 51 laps on blue, respectfully, and it looks really, really good. So we're going to head you back over here to the cam 1 and 2 and let you watch these kids work, and we'll be right back with you. With 40 seconds left to go here before we get back starting racing, and all those red lights drop out to green. Don't forget, here at Lanes Raceway, we have a great birthday package. We just celebrated one of our private events here recently, and I think it went off without a hitch. Of course, we have all the pinball tables turned on free play, all the arcade games we have here turned on free, VR, the whole 9. We got all 3 tracks that go on, get turned on. You get 8 cars, 8 controllers here for a 2-hour package here. Hard to beat. I don't think of many people here that can beat that around the area. And I'll tell you what, it's good, clean fun. Several tables out here. You can also control the music here at Lanes Raceway. So if you're interested in any of the birthday packages we have here or private party packages we have here at Lanes Raceway, definitely give us a call. 4 red lights drop out to green, and we're back racing. We can see Jackson Daugherty still out in the lead, fixing to turn his 100th lap, as he has a median of 2.26, about 0.02 of a second better than what Glenn's turning currently there on blue lane. So maybe car slowing down just a hair as Glenn's up there on blue lane. Should be running just a smidge slower, but we see how freed up Glenn's car is there on blue lane. Quite a bit more freed up than what we're seeing here with Jackson. Jackson, I believe, running a fresh set of tires here on his Gold Dust Mobile. And we'll see if he's going to be able to hold it off here towards the end. Both him and Glenn both have had their share of wrecks so far in this race, but really nobody, for the most part, has had a whole lot of wrecks. So it's going to boil down to the wire here. Like I said, 3 laps separate these two from first place. Cassie a little bit back, about 10 laps back from Glenn there in 3rd place. And then we got Chelsea about 5 laps back from Cassie. Nonetheless, the best lap turned right now, Jackson Darty with 2.188, Glenn Burden with a 2.205, Cassie Woosley with a 2.576, and Chelsea Kirtley with a 2.718. Also, speaking of packages, here at Lanes Raceway, we do have a VR/simulator package here at Lanes Raceway where you can come in anytime during the month and sign up. It's reoccurring $35 a month, and at any time that we're open, you can come in here and plop down on the VR seat and race to your heart's content as long as you like. We only ask that if other people that are involved in it also, that y'all somehow work out something to be able to take turns. But as you can tell, the seat's empty, so if you're interested in that, definitely take a part of that, as we have the best computer system known to man currently right now. And we also got a great VR system with the Vario Aero VR. For those that are VR enthusiasts, you know that that is a top-of-the-line VR headset. 5 seconds left to go, and it looks like Jackson's going to be able to breach the 150 lap mark here, followed by Glenn Burden with 149. Taking a quick look here at the track mate, let's do a little bit of comparison here between Jackson and Glenn and see if there's any hope. So Glenn Burden was able to capture 3 more laps than Jackson there on blue lane. Also, Jackson there losing several laps there on green to Glenn also. So Glenn's definitely not out of this yet. We'll see how well he does down low on purple and black, but Jackson really gonna have to step his game up and try to get some of those laps back for whenever he is competing against Glenn. Coming up next, Jackson and Glenn's going to be side by side for sure, as Cassie Woosley staying there in her medians of about 45 to 46 laps. Chelsea down in the 43 to 44 lap average there. Coming up next, we have the Indy on the road course coming up at 3 o'clock. Several of our pro racers will be coming in for that. You can also see one of our pro racers there probably getting ready for that IndyCar race right now. That's Randy Kirtley. They're also known as King Kirtley here at Lanes Raceway. See him there setting up in the middle section there. Take a look here at Randy Kirtley, currently 4th in the Four Crowns point standings there with 1,625 total points. Not placed in the GRC, so that's why you're not seeing him run the GRC race here, but he's coming off of a championship from our LMP Thunder Pro Series that we just held right before this series that we had. They call him King Kirtley, folks, and the reason why is he took down his rival Paul Woosley in the LMP Thunder Series there in the last race, and it was a very much an upset. I thought Paul Woosley had it in the bag. Nonetheless, Randy brought it home. Paul, he took a series off as he's going to try to weigh out the field and see how things go for the next series. I think Paul's going to jump in head first on the next series, and it's going to get pretty interesting to see them two back on the battlefield together. Fairview IT, 6th place. WinCar Series, he's 6th place. That's coming up later on this afternoon on the orange track. IndyCar, 5th place. Like I said, that's coming up next on the orange track. Late model series, he's in 6th place, but he's battling his way up front. Him and Guillermo Sire both are really battling it out, trying to get their claws into some of these series and move on up to the top position. About 10 seconds left to go before we see those lights. We already see the racers going back to their stations. Cassie out there holding her daddy's controller there. That's a 281 Pro DeFalco. We sell those here at Lanes Raceway if interested. They're around $400 and something or $300 and something. I can't remember. $350, $400, something like that. Jackson's still in the lead, but his lead's been cut to 2 laps. So Jackson there trying his best to hold off Glenn as he's right ahead of Glenn. Glenn pushing a little bit deeper there on purple. Now, whether or not Glenn goes to try to make the aggressive move to pass Jackson is still up in the air. I don't know, but we see Glenn really flirting right there with the back end of Jackson. You can tell that Glenn wants to make the move, but Jackson's not wanting to give him an inch, as we see Jackson there diving on the inside. This could be a telltale sign that Jackson's car just about motored out. Glenn, I believe, just raced put a new motor in his last week or the week before, so his is just now breaking in. As we see Glenn make a beautiful pass, Jackson was able to race him clean side by side. Glenn just carrying just a hair bit more power there up on purple. So we see him now about a half of a lap separated from our current leader, Jackson. Jackson holding it off by 1 lap, but we're going to see a change in these two as the end of the race comes nigh. Jackson's going to be up on top, where Glenn is going to end up being 1 lane below him. So Jackson really has to hold it off the rest of this heat, or he may spell peril for his racing future here at Lanes Raceway. Cassie Woosley, 169, 9 laps separating her from Chelsea Kirtley. Chelsea Kirtley currently up on green lane. You see her up on the high side there. Her car getting a little bit wiggly wobbly. Probably about time for a new motor and a new set of tires. As Glenn Burton's car comes off, losing about that lap advantage that he had on Jackson. Jackson slotting him back in there on purple. Jackson's meeting in currently 2.20 with a best of 2.129, so about a tenth of a second off the best. Glenn Burton turning a 2.064, and also Glenn a median of a 2.13 down on purple. So Glenn just pushing just a hair bit harder down there on purple lane. As we see Glenn Burton's car come off yet again here, he's going to take a look at his car this time. Now Jackson's back to the 2 laps he got those back again. See old Clay Dame and Robert Bishop rolling on up in here. They might be getting ready to do a little bit of pinball action. It's still yet to be determined. Hello, Clay. You know, little race commentating. Jackson holding it down by 2 laps. And a red flag rotation. So after that, folks, we seen that Jackson was able to hold it off by 2 laps. 206 to 204, Glenn Burton's there in third place. Cassie Woosley, 182, currently in third place. Like I said, if she keeps this up, she might end up taking over third place from Weston and Carson, but that's yet to be seen. We'll see. Just like our standings have shown here, we'll go back and take a look at them yet again. And it shows that she's about 80 or so points difference between Weston and Carson. So it's definitely plausible that she can pull up in there into that second or third position if these guys continue to miss these races. Nonetheless, I'm going to leave you guys here with Cam 2 this time, and I'll see you when the break's over. 25 seconds left to go, folks. As you know, we have several races coming up for you at Races. Races coming up for you next. Ohio Valley Dirt Lake Model, as always, at 5 o'clock. I know you guys love that. That's one of my favorite series. Usually one of the most bustling series we have here now to be back on the oval. But we do have the wing car coming up here later on tonight. Heard we might have some special guests coming in a little bit later. But as we head back over to the race, just got some inside info for you guys that we'll be posting later on in our Facebook. You guys may know him by Blake Smith, because that is his name. Let's Talk Racing is his radio show. He's going to be joining us here at Lanes Raceway December the 17th for championship night. He has sent me an email letting me know that he's going to do a little bit of commentating and stuff for the race, and we're excited to have him. Of course, my brother knows him a little bit better than I do, but I'll tell you what, just the recent past couple of months that we have spent in Let's Talk Racing and stuff, going down there and checking things out. He does run a really nice, clean show. He's a lot better speaker than I am, as you know, I guess, well, he does it for a living. So nonetheless, he knows his stuff when it comes to racing. He knew a lot about Lanes Raceway before we even met, which was quite surprising to me that he knew so much information about Lanes Raceway. So he definitely does his work. He does his due diligence. Wouldn't surprise me if he knew who the points leaders was currently here at Lanes Raceway. It is all summer long when we were doing our LMP Thunder Series. They kept track of the points there and announced it, all of our racers and their current positions in that series. And in the future, we hope to be working with them yet again. I believe it's Cromwell Media Group is the people over that. So shout out for them. If you guys don't know about Let's Talk Racing, definitely join their Facebook page. And while you're at it, join Cromwell Media. As you know, we kind of grow together as a system here. When it comes to racing, all us racers, we kind of all hang out together. So nonetheless, let's grow together. Let's make racing a thing here in Kentucky like I've always felt that it should be. We got so many racers, so many big names come out of Kentucky, especially through the NASCAR circuit. You know, it's like Little Charlotte is what I've always called it. Not to mention, you know, we got roots in other styles of racing also. One of the biggest styles of racing there, MotoGP. You know, we had the Hayden brothers, and of course one of them passing away. But nonetheless, you know, Nicky Hayden bringing home the MotoGP championship for 1 year, and that says a lot. And even got some actors coming out of Owensboro area. So, you know, Kentucky's deep-rooted in a lot of the arts, a lot of the racing, and definitely want to push that, especially around here. Windy Hollow, one of the best dirt tracks that I know of. I've been going there since I was a kid, and also got a great drag strip up there, and a lot of my buddies and stuff, they actually drag race up there. So, you know, Windy Hollow is definitely a staple for this area when it comes to racing during the summer months. And I've even talked to the owner of the track a few times there at Let's Talk Racing. And, of course, the banter is always good between racers because we all kind of speak the same language. Big motors, big fun, big horsepower, all types of good racing. Slot car ain't no different. Only thing is, I guess you, in a weird way, would say it's like one rotating cylinder, but really it's not a cylinder, folks. 14 seconds left to go. Glenn Burden currently out in the lead here as he was able to take over Jackson 3 laps. Like I said, just talked to Jackson in the break and just let him know, hey, man, you got to push that car a little bit further down, a little bit deeper. Not pushing as hard as Glenn is today. Glenn really pushing hard. So we're seeing Glenn come off a little bit more as he's trying to get every single lap that he possibly can, because you don't know how this race is going to end up being there towards the end of the last few heats. So, you know, you got to race every lane like it's your last lane. You can't ever take a slack off day. You can't ever take a break. I try to get that in some of these kids' heads because there's always somebody shooting for you. And as we can see here, Glenn Burton definitely shooting for victory. 258 total laps here, 51.6, 0.4 tenths of a lap on average, better than Jackson currently. We see Jackson there with a little bit of shine of hope there on black, turning one more lap, but him and Glenn washing back and forth between there. Glenn getting one more lap on him on purple. But speaking of Glenn, You don't see him in the current standings, and there's a reason for that, because he started a little bit late. There is still a chance for Glenn, though, to make that huge climb, folks. I've seen it before, and we'll probably see it again. Nonetheless, Glenn Burden is definitely one fighting for victory. As we can see, whoop, that's Garrett Burden. Pardon me. Sorry. We can see Glenn Burden here second in the points for the Four Crowns, 2,315. He's in all the series currently that we have here at Lanes Raceway. Currently holding down a late model of third place. Last week he was in first, as you guys know. He got dropped all the way to third, so he's going to have to relinquish the pink spoiler, which I know he does not want to do, to his son, Nathaniel Burden. But Nathaniel Burden not going to currently be here this afternoon to even wear that pink spoiler. And that'll probably drop him off from the pink spoiler for next week. So I'll still cut him one out, and he'll at least be able to put it on his car when he's at home. But nonetheless, Glenn Burden definitely showing out. Got quite a few accolades here, both pinball and slot car racing. And not to mention, Glenn's a good dude. He always helps everybody that comes in here to work on their cars. And we appreciate that here at Lanes Raceway, especially for the youngsters and stuff. A lot of it gets quite overwhelming a lot of times for me that, you know, I can't be at every place at once, and I can only help one person at a time. But Glenn, he does come in and he helps quite a bit. Brought in a case of orange cream sodas, which he loves to drink. And then he turns right around and he pays more for them here at Lanes Raceway. So, you know, he's definitely wanting slot car racing to be in the upper echelons in this area, and he wants it to be successful and succeed. And we appreciate Glenn, we appreciate Nathaniel, we appreciate all of the Burden family as a whole, as they've been close to us. I mean, for as long as I can remember. I remember Glenn going on the circuit there with my brother running the dirt late model, and he's got some stories, folks. I know I've told you before, he's wearing the Kirtley 7 racing shirt right now. But I'll tell you what, he's got some banger of stories, folks. I've sat here many a nights till about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning listening to all the racing stories that he has about Gabriel and Randy Kirtley, my brother and dad. So 152 here, just getting this baby underway. Glenn Burden currently 263 total laps out in the lead. He's got a pretty substantial lead there on Jackson. Like I said, Jackson now going to be pushed to the higher sides. Going to end up finishing this right on green lane. I think Glenn might end up finishing on white, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, it's going to be a very, very close race. But Jackson's car is definitely slowing down, as we can see here. 2.460 is his best lap to Glenn's 2.217. They should be about a tenth of a second different from one another, but as we're seeing here develop, it's a little over 0.2 of a second difference between each other. So there may be some more things going on with Jackson's car than meets the eye. Could be bent. I know Thursday night he raced them pretty hard against Carson and Weston, and they were all beating and banging and throwing each other to the wall. So he's probably dragging a tire, or he's bent some way or something like that he ain't been able to see yet. I've been putting a lot more stress on some of these kids about learning to work on their own cars, about how they're bent and stuff, instead of me just fixing it for them. Because, you know, after about 8 months of telling them things and how to do stuff, they should be pretty vested in knowing how to do the basic stuff. If they don't, they need to figure it out. So we want to try to always push them to do better and never say they can't do something. They all have the ability definitely to bring home a win. Jackson's shown that. We got another youngster named Tom Payton in our wing car series currently. He's putting the spank down on a bunch of the adults. He just started racing slot car racing last year here at Lanes Raceway, learned everything he knew. But, you know, one of the best pupils, I guess, that I've had teaching them how to do certain things. He took right to it like a fish in water. Sorters really well, cleans up his flux. I mean, he does it all. I even had him working here whenever we were really, really busy, and was able to afford him. And he was sorting up chassis and doing quite a good job here at Lanes Raceway for us. Not to mention, he knows his stuff. He knows 332nd axle, 64 pitch, 72 pitch. He knows it all, folks. So it's good to see that, and we want that for every one of the kids that come here that really want to invest their time in being better slot car racers. We will definitely push them to that. I would love to see one of these kids, like I've told Jackson many times, I'd love to see you guys racing for national races or even the worlds, you know, but you got to step your game up. You got to be really, really competitive and compete on those higher end level races. Me and my brother, we were talking about the other day, you know, within 3 minutes, them racers can pull a Group 7 Magnet out, change the tires and gear ratio within 3 minutes. And some of our racers here have struggling just to get their tires cleaned and put a little braid juice on their braids. Glenn Burden out in the lead with an average of 51.7 laps to Jackson's 50.8. We see Jackson kind of falling back there, averagely speaking. Cassie coming up in the mix, though, increasing her average, now currently 46.5. Chelsea around her median, around 43, 44.3 average laps. Like I said, probably needs quite a bit of work done on her car to be able to compete. And take you over to the pinball cam, get a little bit better view of the pits, and I'll be right back with you just as soon as they're ready to go back green racing. All right, folks, sorry about that. I went out there and hung out a little bit with my brother and Clay, see what they were up to. And, of course, they're always making me laugh, both of them. Like I said, Glenn Burden probably going to bring this one home, folks. We got this heat and one more left to go, and this one right here is a quarter of the way through. And Glenn Burden's already got 2 laps up on Jackson. Cassie down low, though, in third place is the real surprise here today. She's going to definitely hit that 300 mark tonight, or today, as she's turned 18 laps. She's actually got a lap up, almost 2 laps up on Jackson currently. She has been very impressive here as of late, really, really nipping on the toes of some of these racers. Like I said, Weston and Carson be feared because, as we can see, Cassie, she's coming for that third place mark. Chelsea, she's down there in the bottom, like I said, this whole race long. That thing needs some work. Not to mention she's carrying that big, huge Mid-America body. They call those the land barges here at Lanes Raceway. For some reason or another, them cars are like a good ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch longer than any other GRC/SCR body, 4.5 inch body. And a lot of the guys just opt out to not using them. Durability leaves something to be desired also. Maybe need to send a email out or something like that to Mid-America, let them know the type of material that they're using. I guess it's a PET G plastic or something. Nonetheless, they are not very durable. They take one sharp hit and it'll blow the whole front end out of these cars. And maybe that's why they built them that way, to make a more realistic damage. I don't know, but I do know that my racers do not tend to want to buy them when they can pay the same price for a Parma body or something. Heading over here to the track, mate, we see Glenn Burden. He's out in the lead by 10 laps now. His average 51.6, and we see Jackson barely hanging on to that 50 average, 50.1 there. And Cassie, 46.9, she increases her average yet again from a 56.1 to a 56.9. And Chelsea, 45. She's right there at that 44-45 mark, as always. Like I said, coming up next, the Big Orange track. You see it here dormant currently. But here in the next hour, you're going to start seeing people roll in for the Indy on the Road course. I'll try to get some of the standings and stuff updated for your viewing pleasure here for the IndyCar series coming up. And I'll tell you what, it's a pretty big battle when it comes to the orange track. It's anybody's ball game. It really depends on how black, red, white, and green is going to treat you. But since we swapped over to the Eagle motor, allowing the guys to run the Eagle motor about mid-season, everybody swapped up, made their cars extremely fast. As soon as that happened, it was nothing but pure debacle. So, I'll leave you guys here with the oval, let you watch these kiddos work and adults, and I'll be right back with you. All right, folks, 10 seconds left to go. I'm going to go ahead and move over to cam 1 and 2. And we're going to be winding this race up here, folks. This is the final heat. And Glenn Burden able to take that first lap there on White Lane. Jackson right above him. This is what they've been wanting for several weeks, folks. They wanted a way to be able to end the race, both of them, 1 and 2, side by side. And they're getting what they're wanting right here. As we can see, Glenn Burden there, 369 to Jackson's 359, right there, neck and neck, side by side as they roll down through Dead Man's Corner. We can see them rushing through there, folks. Neck and neck, side by side, coming down, going through. 3 wide. Jackson getting stuck up there a little bit in the high banks, kind of falling back a little bit. But Glenn Burden right there neck and neck with him. Glenn and both Jackson get involved in an incident there. We can see it in the high banks. Jackson getting super excited as a little bit of camaraderie never hurt, I guess. And 4 red lights drop out to green, and I can't believe these guys are battling so hard back and forth here in the final heat. Jackson kind of falling back a little bit to Glenn there on White Lane. Glenn's car running impeccable tonight. He's going to bring home this victory. 1 minute left to go and 11 laps up on Jackson. Like I said, Cassie, the biggest surprise tonight, as she has really been bringing it home. 355 laps. I've only seen her wreck like maybe 4 times the whole race. if that. But she's been on one. You can see her driving deep there on orange and really carrying that speed through. She just keeps impressing, getting better and better as the series goes on, and it's something to see. A little work on Cassie's car, and she'll be humming for sure, because I'll tell you what, that little car right there with that body, that's the best type of body to have on the GRC circuit. That is a JK. It's about a 1/4 inch shorter than all the other bodies, but we allow it as long as it's a NASCAR-esque body for the 4.5 inch chassis. And I'll tell you what, Cassie's really putting it to work. 371 total laps, 8 seconds left to go, and she's right there in the mix. I think that Weston and Carson would have had to be watching out for Cassie today because she is really putting it on. Oops. Got a little pop-up here, folks. 1 second. Oh, me. Not what I need to see. There we go. So we head over here to the track mate. We can see Glenn Burton's going to bring this one home, folks. 50.9 on average. So dropping down on average there after the red lane. Him and Jackson just giving and taking there. About 10 or so laps difference from one another. 49.5 was the average for Jackson. About half of a lap per heat difference. And Cassie there in third place. Very impressive. 375 total laps, 46.9. She just keeps getting better there. Turning a 50 lapper there on purple was her high. Chelsea Kirtley there running her usual 45, 44, 45 on average. If she gets a picture here, she's going to go out there and get a picture of all of the racers. All right, Glenn, Jackson, and Cassie, if you don't mind, please go to the podium for your picture. Don't forget, folks, coming up next, we got Indy on the road. Indy on the road course, 3 p.m., folks. People are going to be starting to show up here in about next 15, 20 minutes or so. I'm going to try to get everything updated in the meantime. Probably going to work out a few things with some of these racers getting ready to get involved in that. So definitely stay tuned for that. It's starting to become a little bit of a wintertime wonderland out there, a little brisky feeling. We haven't seen that in quite a few days. So the coldness tends to always bring them into the warm, spirited air of Lanes Raceway. So definitely stay tuned for that. Coming up at 3 o'clock, it is bound to be a battle. Lock gear ratio, open wheel action, Indy cars. It's going to be a blast. So definitely tune back in at 3 o'clock. This is Don here at Lanes Raceway. Thank you for tuning in for the 2023 Fall GRC Series, and we'll see you coming up here at 3. God bless you.